Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Alex Ryan-Emmy alongside Christopher Dempsey on a Shout-Out Wednesday. It's Coach Talk Wednesday as well. We've had Jared Bednar. Nuggets head coach Michael Malone just joined us 20 minutes ago. And let's head on back to the Ramos Law Hotline. Car accident. You need Ramos Law, a medical doctor and attorney at ramoslaw.com, where we find Naismith Hall of Famer, 3 gold medals with Team USA, 34 NCAA tournament appearances, 1,200 wins, a 2003 NCAA title. He was on the call last night for the CSU Rams victory. He'll be on the call on Westwood One this evening for the CU Buffs as they're in the play-in game. And more importantly than all of those accolades, my fellow Syracuse Orangeman, Coach Jim Boeheim. Coach, how are you?
I just can't do a radio show or a TV show or something without a Syracuse guy involved.
We're a plague.
They're everywhere. And most of them I mistreated, so they're mad at me still.
Well, I was going to save this one for the end. A young, dumb 18-year-old puke of an Alex Ryan-Emmy once asked you about moving on from the 3-2 zone when you lost in 2011 to Villanova at the Carrier Dome. I thought you were going to kill me then. I'm still somehow alive.
I probably, I would react pretty strongly to that, I think.
Well, I promise you I won't ask it again. I want to start here. We just talked with Nuggets head coach Michael Malone. We asked him what we should ask you. You actually had his late great father, Brendan, on your coaching staff from 1978 through 1984. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Mike Malone was born in Syracuse, I'm pretty darn sure. His dad was on my staff, and I remember Mike coming to our camp, and as a young kid, just a great basketball guy, and he's just an amazing coach. His father was a great coach, and Mike is. I love the way he coaches. He coaches hard. You know, it's hard sometimes with NBA guys, but you know he's not afraid to let them know he's not happy with them, and I love to watch the Nuggets play. Jokic, you know, he's the best player. If you had to pick one basketball player, they talk about all these guys, but he's the guy you take because he can do everything. And he, you know, they always say guys help, you know, their teammates get better. And I don't know if that's always true with great players, but it's true with Jokic. So it's fun to watch him. It was really fun to watch Colorado State last night. I love their coach. I love their team. They've got a really good team. They'll be hard to beat. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't win the game with Texas in the tournament, the next game. They've got really good players, Scott and Clifford, really good players, and then they got a lot of other guys that know what they're doing. It's a well-put-together team, and I think they're going to do some damage in this tournament. And I watched Colorado work out. They're really super talented. But Boise State's a good team too. It'll be a really good game, I think, tonight.
All right, let's start with Colorado State because it's not necessarily easy to break down Virginia's pack line defense. Why were they able to? I mean, it took them a minute to kind of get there, but once they got there, they were able to have a lot of success.
Well, they figured it out quickly. I mean, you move the ball against them, you've got to, get the ball in a low post. They're not as good defensively there, and Scott's a load down there. He's not that big, but he uses his body very well, and they couldn't deal with him. And Clifford just did a lot of stuff, and Colorado State's defense is good, and Virginia's offense this year has been abysmal for the most part. They've been really good at home and just not good on the road. But I love Colorado State. I just think they're a really good team and just really, really, really good coach. And a lot of. The more I do games around the country, the more I see really good coaches. The Wagner coach, Howard coach, really good coaches. And I think we'll see the same thing with Boise and with Colorado tonight. There's just a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teams. It's why we need a little expansion in the tournament. I mean, there's no financial benefit for the NCAA to expand right now, but I don't think that should stop expansion because you're getting $1 billion anyway. Let's do the right thing, expand this tournament, get about 8 more good teams in that think they should be in, let them play each other and see if they can get in. So I hope we get that. It's easy. We do it in Dayton already, do it in another city. You don't dilute the product. You actually have a stronger tournament when you're done with the first round. But, hopefully they can do that. And we need to get away from just analytics. We need some basketball people saying that, hey, Pittsburgh's really playing good and St. John's is really playing good now. And if you want to get the best teams in the tournament, get the teams that are playing best right now, not necessarily the teams that play the best in November.
How do you would you expand the committee too? I mean, it seems to me that so much.
Well,
go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
Well, there's 7 athletic directors and 3 conference commissioners or something like that on this committee. There's no basketball guy. I think one was a former coach, Barry Collier, who's good. But they could even have an advisory board of 3 or 4 former coaches that just kind of evaluate some teams and get the look of what the team is. The net we know is no good. You can play nobody, get a good net, play another team that plays nobody, and have a quad 1 win. And they say it's just a tool, but it's the only tool because they go strictly by quad 1 and quad 2 wins. And that comes from where? The net. So it is the net, and it can be gamed, and it has been. And we need to get somebody in there that watches games and can judge teams, how good the teams are. I mean, Colorado State is not a play-in team, I don't think. I think they're certainly better than that. And NC State's not an 11 seed. They won just beat Duke, Virginia, and North Carolina in a row. So I think they could use some basketball experience in there, not necessarily expand the committee, but to advise the committee, I think. But, we'll see what they do down the road.
Naismith Hall of Famer Coach Jim Boeheim is our guest on the Ramos Law Hotline. Alex Ryan alongside Chris Dempsey. You were on the call last night for CSU as they beat the Who's. I did want to ask you, is it harder to coach against a Tony Bennett team or call a Tony Bennett game?
Well, they've just historically bad offensively this year. They've had some struggles offensively, but they've had some good offenses too. But, they're hard to play against. They're really good defensively. You have to make some shots against them. They don't give you much easy. And Colorado State got easy shots, which is a tribute to their coach and their system, their ball movement. But, Tony Bennett's a great coach. He's just starting to react to NIL. And every college coach has to have NIL. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. You have to have an NIL program. Some obviously are way out in front in terms of the money they spend, but you at least have to have a program to retain your own players. If it is not to go out and get players, to retain your good players. And if you retain your good players, then recruits will see that there is NIL money at your program and you'll get players. But that's something that has to be done moving forward for every college team, no matter what they do in terms of the court system, in terms of the NCAA. NIL is here to stay. So you have to embrace it. And some schools, especially football schools, have really embraced it. And some basketball schools as well. All have not, and they all need to.
It's an interesting conversation. We've heard Rick Pitino maybe just a week or so, maybe a couple of weeks ago, give an interview at which he kind of lamented the fact that maybe the majority of his team was going to turn over this year. And I wonder, it doesn't sound like this is great for the sport, but what do you where do you fall on that?
It is a sport. It doesn't matter whether we like it or not. The old system's gone. You can keep a player for 4 years, but you're going to have NIL for him if he's a good player, and you're going to have to keep him. make sure he's in a good place, a good situation. You can retain players, but you are going to have to get transfer portal guys. Colorado State has them. Wagner has them. Howard has them. Everybody has transfer portal players. Virginia has them. You're going to have that. You get the summer now, so you get a little more time with your team, and you have to make the best of it. But yeah, I mean, it's the world we live in. You're going to have to get transfer portal players. What Rick did and what Arkansas has done is get like 8 or 10. And this year it kind of fell apart for Arkansas. It's been working for them. This year it didn't work so well. So it's not just that you get transfer portal players. You got to get the right ones. And that's not always easy to do. There's 2,000 out there. And 400 of them don't get scholarships. And another 800 don't do that well. So, you got to make sure you get the guys that can help you. But that's the world we're in, and we have to adjust to it. I think employee status would be terrible for schools. I mean, and you have to, Title IX comes into play. You have to pay everybody. And how much do you pay people? How much do you pay the players if the school pays? And even if the school pays the players, you still have NIL because you're going to have to get the players. So there's just so many things involved. And the other thing is, and I'm sure you guys might or might not know this, college sports don't make any money. We're lucky. We get $1 billion TV contract. Everybody thinks we make all this money. Colleges are lucky to break even. The problem is coaches make a lot of money, and that's the hot button that everybody pushes when they want players to get money. As simple as that.
Jim Boeheim is our
guest. You have to realize college coaches are adults. 17, 18, 19-year-old kids are kids. I'm not sure they should be getting $500,000 a year to play basketball. I mean, I'm all for it. My son got NIL. He did it on his own. And one of my sons got $40,000. The other son got $100 because he was a better player. They were happy. Neither one was upset. And, that's the world we live in, and we all have to adjust to it. I didn't leave coaching because I didn't want to adjust to it. It was time to leave. I don't believe Mike Krzyzewski or Roy Williams left because of NIL or even Jay Wright. I mean, they might not have liked it, but if they were 40 years old, they would have kept coaching and they would have adjusted to it.
Jim Boeheim, our guest here on Denver's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. He'll be on the call in Westwood 1 this evening for the CU Buffs. KJ Simpson, Tristan DeSilva, Cody Williams all going at it. You have famously led a deep seed team to a Final Four. Are the CU Buffs a team that can do this with all of this first-round NBA talent that they have? They're in the play-in, but do they have enough talent? Can they pull a Syracuse back in 2017?
It's not necessarily talent. We did it in 2017 with no NBA players, and Colorado State could do it. I don't know if they have an NBA player. Colorado could do it. I haven't seen enough of them to make any. I mean, Cody Williams is a talent, but is he really ready? He's been hurt a lot, in and out. I mean, is he really? I mean, he's not Zion Williamson. Let's say he's not that. He's not Carmelo Anthony. He's a good player. And they have good players. And, yes, they can make a run, but they have a tough game. I think, didn't Boise State beat them last year? I'm not positive. I should know that. But I think they did. But it's a tough game. But, yeah, either one of these teams or Colorado State could make a run in this tournament. See, college basketball, there's just not that much difference between a 10 and a 7 or even a 11 and a 6, whatever. There's just not that much difference anymore. There's a lot of good teams, a lot of good coaches, and anything can happen in these games. There'll be a ton of upsets once we get to Thursday. A ton.
He's the great Jim Boeheim, again, Naismith Hall of Famer at Syracuse for many, many years. My fellow Syracuse Orangeman, Coach, the Malone family says hi, sends their best wishes and best regards to you and Julie. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great call tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jimmy Boeheim. I didn't get my head chopped off today.
No, you didn't.
I am very proud of myself.
He acknowledged it.
I can wash my hands
I
and
probably wouldn't have reacted well to that.
I've had a great broadcast career. It's over at age 30. Dempsey and Company. It's Altitude.